The bond between Sonic and Tails is probably the strongest relationship in the entire series. These are two characters that always seem to be working together, and they seem to grow constantly just by being around one another. We know that Tails is a character who he is because of the influence Sonic has on him. In most media, whether it be the games, the movies, or the comics, you'll find that Tails was a character who was bullied, and he was only able to grow out of the fear of unacceptance by following Sonic and learning from him. Sonic, on the other hand, acts as like an older brother character to Tails, in that I feel like Sonic is helping guide Tails into becoming stronger and smarter, and even more confident in himself. And I feel like that will help him along the way if Tails ever needs to save the world by himself at some point, if it ever comes down to that. But at least that's the way I see it. That in mind, I feel like the one thing that we can all agree on is that Sonic and Tails have an unbreakable bond. These two characters are best friends and cannot be broken up. However, there were two Sonic games that kind of put this relationship to the test. It made me question whether or not Sonic and Tails' relationship would be as close as we always thought it was. For just a moment, I ask that you put aside all of your thoughts on the 2010s era of Sonic. Yes, we are well aware that does not match the old standard of what Sonic the Hedgehog used to be, and it may not be what we want it to be going forward, but even still, it's important to recognize that this era did some pretty interesting stuff for the entire franchise. In this video, I'm going to be highlighting two Sonic games that put the relationship between these two characters to test, and those games being Sonic Lost World and Sonic Colors. The first game I'm going to talk about here is Sonic Colors. The common belief is that Sonic Colors was the game that kind of caused the shift in direction that we've seen in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, and it feels like the relationship between Sonic and Tails is kind of relatively the same, but still kind of different in its own ways. In the past, we'd see Sonic and Tails in more of a cooperative relationship where they're trying to fight enemies together, whereas in this sense, in this game, Sonic and Tails are kind of working cooperatively but in a different way. You see, Tails is working on machines that can help Sonic in the process, and I guess in Sonic Colors Ultimate he does, have the Tails sleeve and everything like that, but Sonic is pretty much fighting all these robots by himself and saving the Wisp by himself in a physical sense, whereas Tails is there helping, but in a more technological sense. Both means of Tails providing assistance are still very useful in their own ways, but still, it's important to talk about the differences. And when it comes to the dynamic in Sonic Colors, it's not only Tails who changes, it's also Sonic as well, as towards the end of the game, Sonic is actually the one who pushes Tails in the elevator and sends him out of space so Sonic can fight the final boss by himself, whereas in the past, Sonic and Tails would normally fight giant bosses together, not by themselves. I talk more about the whole Sonic and Tails dynamic as well as this scene in greater detail in a video titled How Sonic Ruined Tails. I would really appreciate it if you guys gave that one a watch if you haven't already. That aside, the overall dynamic between Sonic and Tails in this game doesn't differ all that much from how it used to be. These two characters were still best buddies in this game. That said, there was one scene in particular that kind of made me question what the direction of this game was going to be going forward when I first saw it. I can probably do better showing you rather than telling you, so here's the scene.
Tails, is that you humming?
Sonic, look out!
Tails! Tails, buddy?
He's my buddy now.
What have you done to him?
Me? I did nothing at all. Unless shooting him with my mind control beam that runs on alien energy counts is doing something to him. Does it? To get to me, you're going to have to go through your best friend. This turned out much better than I could have hoped, and I only used a small prototype.
Enjoy it while you can.
Oh, I will. In fact, the only way to make this better would be to have you two fight.
Come on, Tails. Snap out of it, dude. You don't want to do this.
What the?
Tails, buddy, are you all right?
This scene had all of the elements to make Sonic and Tails fight, and yet it didn't go that far. They almost went to the unthinkable. This is something that would have never happened in the series before, and yet here we are. We could have been at that very moment. One of the more interesting concepts that this scene deals with is that, in a way, it's kind of Sonic's fault for not paying attention, as Tails pushes Sonic out of the way to protect him from getting hit. And because of Sonic's inability to focus on the situation at hand, Tails is now affected and he might have to fight his best friend. This scene kind of sets it up like it's going to be some type of mini-boss that we have to deal with. Now, I'm not saying that Sonic should have straight up homing attacked Tails and knocked them all out or whatever, but it would have been really cool to see just how they handle that scene going forward. but instead it just kind of seems like it just gets dumped out of the way and we no longer have to think about it. Sonic has faced off against many different characters, whether they be robotic versions of himself, ultimate life forms, or even egg-shaped characters. But we've never seen him come face to face to a situation like this where he has to fight a character who he's that close to. Tails is his best friend, and to see Sonic have to kind of deal with this situation would be really interesting, and the fact that this kind of got sidelined is actually pretty upsetting. To me, I feel like the most irritating thing about this scene is how good it is. You see, because I really do believe it sets up a perfectly nice boss battle, or at least a mini-boss, but the fact that it's completely thrown away just makes me kind of feel wanting more. Like, for example, I feel like the boss for this scene could have been easily just Sonic trying to get around Tails and hit Eggman's mind control beam, that way Tails no longer feels the effects of being mind controlled. It would have been a small little filler example, but it definitely does add something to the game that I feel like could have been really interesting. But anyway, moving on, let's talk a bit about Sonic Lost World and how Sonic and Tails almost fought in that game. Unlike Sonic Colors, I feel like just from the very beginning, Sonic and Tails' relationship was kind of becoming a bit strained. The two obviously had their differences throughout this game, and it really affected the overall story of what the game would become. The overall theme here in this game was just trust. Basically, Sonic had issues with trusting Tails to do certain things, and therefore Tails got a little irritated about it and believed that Eggman was probably more beneficial to Sonic than he was, and he wanted to prove to Sonic otherwise, that Tails could be more useful than Eggman ever could. The overall dynamic of Sonic and Tails working together in this cooperative relationship and taking down Eggman is still relatively the same as it was in Sonic Colors, but again, this relationship gets a little bit testy as Sonic begins to lean a bit on Eggman more to beat the Zeddy. And it is also Sonic's fault for knocking the conch out of Eggman's hands, and then he runs away with Tails and doesn't believe that Tails can take on these robots because he thinks he'll get fried. So as you can tell, Tails does not do a whole lot of fighting in this game, but just like Sonic Colors, Tails actually does save Sonic yet again from getting, kidnapped or mind controlled or whatever. Tails ends up getting hit into one of the animal capsules and sent away to the Zeddy, and then he becomes a cyborg. And again, here is the scene, that way you can see what happens.
I'm getting tired of you guys.
Don't be so whiny, man. That's my deal.
Give up now and join your friend.
Tails? Man, when I get my hands on you guys...
We promise you will be happy in our service.
I'll never serve you.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Destroy Sonic. What?
Good to have you back, Tails. I'll take it from here.
Now, this scene would have been really cool to see a Sonic and Tails boss fight, but they did kind of set it up in a way whereas Tails would actually be able to assist Sonic, and he does so by reprogramming his machine while the Zeddy are, distracted. So he's able to become a cyborg, but in a way that he wants to be, not controlled by the Zeddy at all. This scene was also really good for Tails' character overall because he was able to prove to Sonic that he actually is worth trusting. He isn't the type of character to just lay down and accept his fate, he's going to try to change that if possible, and that's exactly what it does here in aiding Sonic in defeating the Zeddy. Although, it would have been cool to see him also go after Sonic and help him out, but hey, I guess that's just how the cookie crumbles. Now, I know in this scene, we're not supposed to get that whole Sonic and Tails boss fight, as we were able to get a scene prior explaining how Tails was able to change himself back to normal and not get possessed by the Zeddy, but even still, the whole concept of Sonic having to fight a cyborg version of Tails would have been super interesting. Sonic is now coming face to face with a stronger version of his best friend. To see how he handles this situation where he really cannot just run away would be really interesting, because how would they go about the fight in this scene? Would Sonic have to hit Tails actually, or would he have to do other maneuvering to make sure that he can get free from this mind control? Again, much like Colors, I'm not sure if this whole fight scene would have made it that much better, but even still I think would have been a really cool concept to see integrated in the series. One that we've never seen before, and one that we probably may not ever see again. But you know what, those are just my thoughts on these two games, and these two times where Sonic and Tails almost fought. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Do you think a Sonic and Tails fight scene would be great in these games? I want to see what you guys have to say, because I really think it would have been cool to see this, especially when I first saw these scenes the first time when I played these games. And also, while you're typing your comment, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on the video if you enjoyed it. I would really appreciate it. And also turn on the post notifications bell, that way you never miss a video from me. You do not want to miss what I have to say. But now's probably as good a time as any to shout out my legendary channel members. Thank you all so much for supporting me and my channel and creating the best possible content that I can create. You guys are truly the best. I praise the Lord every single day for y'all. Thank you again so very much. If you're interested in becoming a member of my channel, there'll be a link in the description down below. But anyway, thank you all for watching. This is Sonic signing out. Have a super blessed day, y'all.
Why are you playing that trash?